Lesson 4 is multiplying with multiple digits. Go ahead and have your notebook ready, and as the title, put down Lesson 4, multiply with multiple digits. Pause the video until you have that down and push play when you're ready to begin. Okay, so in this lesson, when we multiply with multiple digits, we use the distributive property to help break numbers down to make them easier to multiply. The distributive property, you'll see as we go through the year, a lot of different ways we can use this property. And we use it to help simplify things so that we can work with them. And so today you'll see one of the ways we'll use the distributive property. Basically it means we're passing things out evenly. So you'll see in a moment. Here's the thing, and this is a we do, so we do number 1. So go ahead and copy this down into your notes right now. And here's the thing, as you know, multiply is counting by that certain number over and over again, as many times as it tells you, or adding the number together a bunch of times. So this is 243 added to itself 29 times, or I could count by 29 243 times. And so when you think about it, I'm going to count by 29, and then it's going to be 58, and then it's going to be, and you're counting by that, and you have to do that 243 times, and your brain goes, oh, that's a lot. So, and I haven't memorized my 29s. I've memorized my 4s, 4 times 3, 4 times 4, 4 times 5. I've memorized my 7s, but I haven't memorized my 29s. So what we do is we use the distributive property to split it up so that we can use what we have memorized and make it a little bit easier. So here's how this looks. I'm going to take the 29, and I'm going to break it into, I'm going to go and put it in expanded form is what you call this. It's basically 20, 2 in the tens place, right? We did place values recently. So 20 plus 9, 20 plus 9 equals 29, doesn't it? So we're taking this 29 and we're breaking it into 20 plus 9. So I've just pulled it apart, and I'm going to pass each of these out evenly. The 9, I'll do 243 times 9, and then I'll do 243 times 20. And then I'll add it together. That's doing the distributive property. So here's, and we do it all in one big section. And you just get in the habit of doing it this way after a while. So we're going to start with the 9 first. Okay, so we're not looking at this 2 right here at all. No, not now, just the 9. And we're going to pass him out to each place value of these, the ones place, the tens place, the hundreds place. So we'll start with the ones place. 9 times 3 is 27. I've memorized that. That's in my Math Facts Knowledge Bank. Then I go to the tens place. 9 times 4 is 36, plus 2 more is 38. And notice I'm doing the carryover just like I did in addition. So it works the same way. Then I'm on 9 times 2. That's 18, plus 3 more, 19, 20, 21. And what this line shows me is what 9 times 243 is. So that's just the 9 row. That represents the 9. So now that I'm done with the 9, I'm going to multiply the 20. Well, I don't know my 20s by heart, but that's okay because I can just take this 0 and put it down here. I like to call him Pete. I think one of your math teachers a couple years ago called him Pete, and I've just adopted that, Pete and repeat. So this is Pete. So we take the 0 off of the 20, put it here. And once we do that, then we can just multiply just the 2, and that's easy because I really do know my 2s. Now I'm going to distribute that 2 out fairly to each of these places, the ones place, the tens place, and the hundreds place. So 2 times 3 is 6. That was easy. And 2 times 4 is 8. And 2 times 2 is 4. And that's done now too. And so I've done 9 times 243. Then I did 20 times 243. So when I add those together, 7, 8 plus 6 is 14. 8, 9, 10, 4, 5, 6, 7. that tells me what 29 times 243 is. If 20 times 243 is this, and 9 times 243 is this, when you add them together, you'll know your answer. Now, a very common mistake, so you did need to have this written down. Everybody has this written down now in your notes, correct? If not, pause and write it down. Then push play when you've got it. Okay, on this next part, do not write this down. This is the common mistake that I see. I want you to see it, but I don't want you to write it. 243 times 29. I'll have a lot of people who will say, yes, I get it. 9 times 3 is 27, and 9 times 4 is 36, 37, 38, and 9 times 2 is 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, so this row, notice here, that was the same. Here's where the mistake is made. They'll say, okay, that's done. Now 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 2 is 4. And they end up with 486. That would be fine if we were doing 2 times 243. 2 times 243 is 486. But remember, this isn't 2. This is 2 sitting in the tens place. That's 2 tens. That's 20. It's 20 times 243. So we need to remember that there's that 0 that should be sitting there, and it bumps everything over. And if I were to add this up for getting that Pete, like I called this guy Pete, remember the 0? If I were to add this together, I would get 13, 17, 6, 2, 2,673. Those are different answers. This one is correct. This one is not, because I did 243 times 9, and then I added it to 243 times 2. I was supposed to be adding it to 243 times 20. 20. So that's the mistake. So be careful, don't leave your Pete's out. That's the most common mistake I see. So you do not want to have this copied down. You just needed to see what the common mistake was so you don't make it. So all right, let's go on to another redo then. Okay, we're going to do 324 times 215. Go ahead and write that in your notes and push play when you've got it into your notes and you're ready to follow along with me. You're going to want to copy down everything as I do it. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 215, because I don't know my 215s by heart. I don't, and nobody does. So I'm going to take this 215 and I'm going to break it down into small bite-sized pieces. So I'm going to do it in expanded form. So it's 2 in the hundreds place, 200, plus that 1 is in the tens place, so I'm going to make it 10. And then that 5 is in the ones place. So it's 200 plus 10 plus 5 would be 215. And I'm going to start with the 5. I'm going to multiply this 5. I'm going to pass it out to the ones, the tens, and then the hundreds place. I completely ignore these right now. I am not worried about these guys yet. But I do know my 5s by heart, so hopefully you do too. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 more is 12. 5 times 3 is 15, plus that 1 is 16. That was easy. Cross it off. Cross him off too. Now I'm going to do the 10. Oh, well, the 10 has a 0 hanging out on the end of it, so I'm just going to send that 0 right on over, put him there, cross him off. And now I can go ahead and just do the 1. 1 times 4, oh, I like doing that. That's just 4. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. That was easy. And now I'm done with the 10. Cross it off. Now I'm going to do the 200. Well, that has 2 zeros on it. So I'm going to take those 2 zeros over, 1, 2, and put them in there. Now it's really important that you stay nice and neat. Keep all the place values lined up. Math really is helpful if you're neat. So if you're a sloppy writer, clean things up, because you're going to get wrong answers if you can't clean things up. So you might do all the math right, but just because you don't lined it up incorrectly, it comes out wrong, and that stinks. So you definitely don't want to miss something just because you couldn't keep it in straight lines. So go ahead and try and keep it in straight lines. All right. So we took care of the zeros already, so now we can just multiply the 2. 2 times 4, we go all the way to the ones column. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. See how easy that is when I just take care of pulling those zeros off of there? I've used the distributive property to make things into small bites. I'll tell you my waffle story in a minute. The small bite waffle story. All right, so now I just add the 324 times 5 plus 324 times 10 plus 324 times 200 together. So I've done all that math. Now I just add it all up. That's 0. That's 6. That's 8 plus 2 is 10 plus 6 more is 16. 4 plus 3 is 7, 8, and then 9, and then 6. So my answer is 69,660. Okay, now it's your turn to do this. Go ahead and write down 321 times 36. Then pause the video and try to do it on your own. And then push play. I'll go through it quickly and we'll see if you got the right answer. So push pause, solve this one, and then push play when you're done. Okay, so you have some sort of an answer here now. So let's go ahead and see how you did. I'm going to break this 36 into 30 plus 6. 30 plus 6 equals 36. And I'm going to go ahead and multiply just the 6 first. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18, plus that 1 carryover is 19. 6 is done. 6 is done. Now I'm going to do the 30. It's got a 0 hanging out on the end. I'm just going to take this 0 down, stick it there. Then I'll just multiply the 3 out of that 30. So I've finished with this, and now I'm just doing this part. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. And now all I need to do is add this together. 6, 5, 9 plus 6 is 15. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 1 more is 11. Your answer should have been 11,556. And you do number 2. This is the last you do. You're going to do number 415 times 217. I promised I'd tell you the waffle story because in the next few lessons you might hear me say, don't waffle this. What I mean by that is one time my son had cooked himself a waffle, and when he was watching the TV and I was sitting next to him, I looked at that waffle and it looked so good that I grabbed a fork and I stuffed the whole quarter of that waffle in my mouth. And when he looked back at his plate and it was missing, he looked at me and said, "What happened to my waffle?" And I looked at him with my cheeks sticking way out. I said, "What waffle?" And so what I should be doing is taking little bites of things, not stuffing a whole waffle into your mouth. And math is the same way. You break things into pieces, and you do them little bites at a time instead of trying to shove the whole thing in your mouth. And so instead of counting by 217, 415 times, shoving the whole thing in your mouth, we break it up into little pieces, and we do little piece by little piece in little bites. So that's why we've been using that distributive property to break it into pieces so we don't have a big old waffle in your mouth. So go ahead and take 415 times 217, solve what that is, and when you have that, when you have your answer, push play again to see how you did. Okay, so you now have an answer to this, and let's see how you did. I'm going to take 200 plus 10 plus 7, because when I add those together, it's going to be 217. And I just broke it into bite-sized pieces so I don't waffle it, stuff my whole mouth full. And I'm going to multiply the 7 through first. So 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 1 is 7, 8, 9, 10. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 1 is 29. The 7 is done. Now we'll do the 10. Oh, but looky here, there's a 0 hanging out on the end of that. Just send that 0 on over. And then you can just multiply the 1, which is so easy. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 4 is 4. That's done. That was easy. Now I'm going to do the 200. 200. Well, looky there, there's 2 zeros there. So just take those 2 zeros and put them there. Notice I'm lining things up nice and straight. Be really careful with that. So now I've taken those zeros and I've taken care of them, so all I have to focus on is the 2, which is easy. 2 times 5 is 10. I scribble those out. Okay, 2 times 1 is 2, plus the 1 carryover is 3. And 2 times 4 is 8. Then I've done all of these, so I add it all together. 5, 5, 9 plus 1 is 10, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 8 plus 1 is 9. And just keep in mind, for every digit you have in this bottom number, there's 1, 2, 3 digits. You're going to have a row for each of them, 1, 2, 3 rows. If there's 2 digits, there's 2 rows. If there's 3 digits, there's 3 rows. If there's 4 digits, there will be 4 rows. So keep that in mind as well when you're multiplying with these. All right, if you feel like you get it, then please come get the closure questions so you can prove to me that you got it. If you're still unsure, rewind to wherever you need to see if you can get further explanation, or if you hear it a second time, it might help. And if that doesn't help, come see me to practice a few extras with me, and we'll see if we can't get that all dialed in for you.